What's the smartest way you've ever turned someone's rules against them? I was 16 when my dad got me a car. At first, it sounded like every teenager's dream, but in my case, it wasn't freedom. It was responsibility with 4 wheels. My mom had passed away when I was 10, and because of that, the day-to-day responsibilities of running a household shifted onto us kids. By the time I was 11, I was cooking meals for 8 or more people. I did laundry, cleaning, grocery shopping, you name it. So when my dad gave me that car, it wasn't for late-night drives or hanging out with friends. It was to get my little sister and me to school, to practices, to grocery stores, and to make sure our house kept running. My dad paid the insurance and maintenance. I paid for gas with babysitting money. I never complained. I was a good kid, a solid student, and I stayed out of trouble. Then my dad got a girlfriend. She had kids around my age, and one day she told him that since her kids paid for their cars, I should pay for mine too. My dad listened, and just like that, he sat me down and announced, "From now on, if you want that car, you'll pay for everything. Insurance, maintenance, payments." I told him I couldn't afford it. Between school, practice, and helping at home, I didn't even have time for a job. He shrugged and said, "Figure it out." So I did. I walked over, picked up the keys, and handed them to him. Then I don't want the car. At first, he didn't take me seriously. I think he thought I'd miss the car, realize how much I needed it, and crawl back asking for it. But the next morning, my sister and I missed the bus. I had to wake him up to drive us. He was not happy. After school, we got a ride home, but when he came through the door that evening expecting dinner, I was on the couch with a book. He asked where the food was, and I said, "Oh, I didn't have a car to get to the store. Maybe there are leftovers." That night, when practice rolled around, I let him know we needed a ride there and back. He drove us, quiet but fuming. The next day, same story. No bus, no groceries, no dinner on the table, no orange juice in the fridge for his morning routine. He had to drive us everywhere. By the end of day 2, he was starting to realize what life looked like without me having a car. Then I reminded him about the weekend. "By the way, our meet is an hour away and we need to be there at 9. That was the breaking point. He called me upstairs and tossed me the keys. "Fine," he said. "You can have the car back. I'll cover half the payments and half the insurance, but you can only use it for school, practices, errands, and driving your sister." I tossed them right back. That's all I ever used it for anyway. Sell it. I don't want the car. A little while later, he called for me again. This time, the deal was that he'd cover everything except gas, but I couldn't use it for myself. I told him, "So you want me to pay money just to run errands for everyone else?" "No thanks." Keys went back down again. Finally, he called me into the living room, calm this time. He said he'd cover everything except gas, and I'd keep using the car the way I always had. School, practices, chores, and all the rest. But he expected me to do it without complaint. He ended it with, "I hope you learned a lesson." I had, but not the one he thought. What I learned is that sometimes the best way to win is not to fight, but to step aside and let someone else see the consequences of their own decisions. After that, he didn't push it again. Things went back to normal. I drove my sister, kept up with school, ran the errands, and made sure the household ticked along. And honestly, I loved my dad. He wasn't perfect, and sometimes he could be swayed by the wrong people, but he did the best he could. All of us kids grew up happy and close, which is more than a lot of people can say. Looking back, I can laugh about it. At 16, all I had to do was refuse to play along, and it forced my dad to rethink everything. For a few days, he had to handle the very responsibilities I'd been carrying for years, and once he saw how much weight I was really holding up, he stopped questioning it. All it took was 3 little words: "I don't want it."